We live in a world of plastic and disposable items and more. Well, let's recycle our plastic and do something good with it. Wow! A pea in 3 days in plastic.
Hi everybody, it's Robbie from Southern California and I'm back. And today I am back to talk about planting in plastic bags. There has been so much conversation going on that. And I thought, you know what? I am going to come back and I do have more to say on that. Let's start off with the few people who don't like plastic. I agree with you. Plastic can be a horrible thing. But you know what? If it wasn't for plastic, a lot of children would not be alive because incubators are made out of plastic. Hospital tubings and different things are made out of plastic. Plastic is a wonderful thing as long as it's being used for what it's used for and disposed of correctly. So I am with you as far as plastic being bad, but it's not bad. It's just that the culprits are the ones that are grabbing something and throwing it in the street. When it's not being disposed of correctly, that's when it's bad. That's my opinion. You can have any opinion you want, but you wouldn't be watching me if it wasn't for plastic, because your computers, your phones, your tablets, they all are made with plastic. So what we need to do is we need to better use the plastic that we're being given, or when we go to the grocery store, we buy something, it comes in plastic. This, believe it or not, that looks like a really nice cup is a disposable plastic cup. Came from a birthday party that was here. Plastic, peanut butter. Now let's get into some other plastics. You go to the nursery and you buy plants. You know what? These are pretty disposable. These are pretty much a one-time use. They fall apart. They literally crumble to pieces. This one's crumbling. I didn't even get to use it a second time. This is really bad, but there's nothing you can do. This is the way they do it. The nurseries don't want it back. What I would say with this, if you're not going to use it, dispose of it correctly. Put it in the trash can, not in the street. Don't let it get into the oceans. That's the worst place for plastic. As far as these, you can get multiple uses out of them, but again, they too break down and they're not that good as far as growing in, but you can use them. That's the other thing. The other thing is Gary likes frozen blueberries. Most of your vegetables and your food that you're buying at the grocery store comes in plastic. Don't throw this out in the trash. There's nothing we can do. And I know a lot of you are probably only doing your own gardens and you're not buying, you're lucky enough not to have to go to the grocery store and buy anything. So for you, great, that's wonderful. But when we have something like this, and yes, we do buy sour cream because I don't make my own, I can take this plastic bag, make a hole in it. Doesn't matter how many holes, how you do it, what you poke in, because you want drainage. Put it in something else you've got plastic. Fold the top down, fill it with soil, and you now have the greatest seed starter or root cutting starter. Cuttings, what you want to do, whether it's a fig tree, a rose bush, anything, kale, broccoli, you can start it in this, and this is wonderful. This doesn't have holes, this has holes, and when you accidentally water too much, you just pour it out or lift it out. But here, you're reusing your plastic. Reuse the plastic you've got. You can use these too. Now, here's the thing when it comes to growing in things. A lot of people have told me they use toilet paper rolls. I've tried it. I personally am not a fan. These are peat moss cups. I know big gardeners, well known on YouTube, who won't use this. These two things, which are fine if it's working for you, this wicks the water away from your seed. So when you plant in here, you better make sure, even though it's got good drainage, you better make sure you keep it wet. Because what it does is it's like a sponge and it's pulling the water away. So you're watering your plant in here and it's pulling the water away from the center, because as this dries, it pulls the water. So these dry out really fast. The other thing is These are good when you do have seeds that start in them and you keep them well watered to plant straight into the ground because it's a peat moss cup. But if you were growing something as small as, let's say, parsley, sometimes they get root bound. Sometimes these don't break down quick enough for the plant and you could end up losing your plant. If you're planting in here a kale or a squash plant, zucchini, then yes, they have a massive root system. They will bust through the plant when you plant this in the ground and it will work great. Same thing. These are basically the same. What I do with paper towel and toilet paper rolls, I compost them. They go on my compost. So I don't plant in this. Now, Karen Bowers said it all. Amazon, Walmart, and Best Buy, I bought from them, send these cute little air pillow, plastic air pillows. They're full of air. You can't really use them on the bottom of your pots because they will collapse. It's a very thin plastic. And she said, I gave her the idea of using these instead of plastic bags. And you know what? She's right. I've actually been using them too. And I also use them sometimes when I want to wrap something. I cut the top off and I now have a plastic bag. But with this, same thing. You make a hole. You put it in one of your cups. It doesn't matter what cup. You put it in there, you fill it with soil, and now you have now reused the bag instead of throwing it out. They've kind of gotten away from the styrofoam popcorn stuff. I think these are cheaper and that's why they're starting to go for this. But absolutely plant in it. Okay, I can hear you. There's a few of you screaming, oh my gosh, you don't know what kind of plastic it is. Well, I don't think they're marked, and you are right, they are not marked. But oh yes, they are. There are 2. I didn't even notice it till just now. Look at that. It's a 2. It's safe. It's a food product. 3 is not. Number 3 is not. But 1, which is usually your water bottles, they're clear. This is surprisingly a 2. Usually you see 2 as these white containers from the grocery store, usually a 2 or a 5. So this is safe. So you don't have to worry about it. Now, for the few of you that are worried and saying, oh no, it's plastic. I hate plastic. It's only going to be in here for a few weeks, let's say 2 months tops. Take it out and then you won't have to worry about the plastic. The thing is, we can get extra use out of plastic. And that's what I'm trying to show is let's repurpose things. I mean, somebody asked, can we go to the dollar store and buy plastic cups? Which I guess this is from the dollar store and these are disposable plastic cups. I bought this, it was 2 for $1. They were so cute. I've got a plastic bag in there and it's doing great. And you can display your plants in your house, on your patio, anywhere you want, you know, for the winter until they're ready to go outside. Yes, you can go to the 99-cent store, dollar store. Grocery stores have cheap plastic cups too. I showed up, this is a cup that's, I'm sorry, this is not a cup, this is a flower pot I made that has no hole on it. But I'm growing red celery in here. And when it's time, it's gonna go outside. The same thing with this 40, 50-year-old cup I've got. That's actually, it's about 40 years old from one of the drinks. They were giving it away as a promotion. You had to send away labels. I've double bagged that because I don't want the cup to go bad. So if you've got a coffee cup, like let's say the hummingbird cup, and this is a really beautiful hummingbird cup I've got. So since I haven't double bagged this, all I would have to do is have a second bag with no holes. This one's got holes, and you put it in there, and then you sit it in there, and you can tuck it in so it looks really cute if you're displaying it. Now my tomato plant can grow in there. I can water it, and it's not going to hurt the cup. If it gets waterlogged, tip the water out. But this, Karen, thank you. And Earthly Kisses said, you can't please everyone. Oh, that's true. I don't think you can please everyone. You do the best you can. I do the best I can. I enjoy gardening. And this has actually been one of my favorite ways, even though I do the paper cup system, and I've shown that. I'm not going to get into details on that. That's another video. These I actually plant. This is pigeon pea. It's coming up in a paper cup. I have it written down here. And this pot and all will go into the ground when it's time to plant. Now going back to plastic bags. I kind of thought about it when 2 people mentioned it. Here is a box of 300 plastic bags. I bought this at the thrift store, 8/28/12, 2012, and look how many are left in here. I haven't even gone through this. I haven't even bought another one. I have got so many left. I would say at least half the bag, half the box is still left in here. We can be frugal with our plastic. We don't have to use it one time. Like I said, when you take the plant out and you plant it in the ground, this is going to slip right out of this bag. You're going to take it out of the plastic bag and plant it in the ground, in your container, flower pot, you know, wherever you want to plant it. Keep the bag. Take the bag. It doesn't matter if it's dirty. Dry it out because you don't want to pack it away wet, and put it in something. Put it in another plastic bag that you don't want to throw away. Put it in, maybe you drink coffee and you get those coffee containers that are plastic. Stuff them in there and then close it up. And just in case it's damp, take a piece of paper towel and throw it in there so any moisture would go to the paper towel and it will keep it from molding. It probably won't. But save the bags. You can probably use these plastic bags dozens and dozens of times, which means for many years. They don't have to go to the landfill. So think about the way you're doing it. Now, yes, I did say that people that have cutworms, what they can do when they go to plant, let's say they're going to plant this little pepper in the ground. And I did say, yes, this is wet, but you're going to plant it in the ground and you want to fluff it up. If the cutworms come at night, they come to the surface and start looking around because what they want to do is they want to eat through the stem. They won't because of the plastic bag. Now, you might be able to save the plastic bag. I told you to make slits and throw it away, but look. If you have to throw it in the garbage. Make sure it gets into the trash. Don't just pull it out of your garden and let it fly where it wants to fly and end up somewhere in the sewers and going down to the ocean. All we have to do is be a little responsible and think about where our plastic is going. I try to make sure if I see something on the street, even out front of my house, I pick it up. I pick it up in parking lots a lot of times when I've parked. I see cans or plastic bags. I just pick them up, throw them in the back of the car, and throw them in the trash. The point is, we just have to be a little bit responsible. And I am with you as far as plastic's bad, but I also think that without plastic, maybe a lot of us wouldn't even be here. Plastic was a wonderful invention. But what we have to do is try to recycle as much of our plastic as we can. That's pretty much it. Again, with the tin cans. Boy, you guys are noisy. Again, it's raining and thundering and lightning all day today. With tin cans, same thing. Instead of, sending it off to the dump, go ahead and use tin cans. Use any type of vessel that you've got that you like. And I thought these were cute, so I used these. That's pretty much it. I'm going to have to tell you, this works really, really good. The other day, literally, I made the other one days ago, and I used this as my demonstration, where I showed how I planted the pea. There was one single pea, and I put some soil in here. I put the plastic bag in here. I couldn't believe. I never soaked the pea. I never prepped it or anything. Because this stays damp, this pea came up. By the third day, it was already popping out and growing. And that was strictly a demonstration. I wasn't even ready to plant peas. This method has worked fantastic for me as far as starting seeds. The plastic bag that's in there holds the water nicely. I mean, why do you think they start all those seeds and sell them in plastic? So plastic holds the water with the soil, the potting soil, nicely. Really, really good. And the seeds get a great start in this. This is my favorite thing because I can display it. Now, of course, if you're a farmer and you're planting 100 of the same varieties, you're not going to want to do this because you literally would go crazy. I would go crazy. You'd find a different way. But this has just really helped the plants. As far as cuttings, the same thing. Plastic doesn't allow the water to dry out. The plastic is holding, and the ceramic cups or glass, whatever you want to use, is holding the water in the soil, and it can only go out one way. With the other things that I showed you, the the peat moss cups and paper towel rolls or whatever you want to use, it's actually drying all different directions on you. So the water is evaporating out on the sides and through the top. That's the problem with these, and you really have to keep them well watered. With this, it only can evaporate up, so it stays with the seed, the young seed. And I don't like wasting seed. I literally will plant one seed, maybe two, to one pot. And if it doesn't grow, then I'll just put another seed in there later. I don't waste my seeds. I've got seeds that I've had for years and years, and as long as you keep them in a nice dry place, they're like nice dry and dark place, I would do that too, you'll be able to keep those seeds going for a long time. When you're planting in plastic, this is why they use this. I know England has talked about this, the UK, that they've got a major problem with so many floral pots all over because they can't dispose of them and they're piling everywhere and they're trying to figure out what to do. Well, same thing here. But the reason they use these is in the nurseries, in your big box stores, who's ever selling these, when they water it, it retains the water better. That's why they don't like selling them in the peat moss cups unless they're wrapped in plastic. You'll notice that when the peat moss cups go to the stores, they're wrapped in plastic to make sure the seeds in the plants have enough moisture, especially a lot of these stores don't water as well. This, you're going to find out, is really cool because the water will drain out in the bottom of the cup and will sit there a little bit if you don't spill it out, and can help the plant grow as well. I would drain it out, but it's there to keep, your young seeds need water. If a young seedling like this dries out, it's toast. You can't bring it back. Once a young seedling dries out completely, pretty much it's done. You have to start over. As far as cuttings, this has worked fantastic. Try it. You'll take a cutting of your favorite plant. Now, if you were doing rosemary, somebody brought up rosemary, because it's a hit and miss and you want like at least 1 year old wood from the plant, do a whole bunch of cuttings in here. Don't waste your time with having just one. I've got a whole bunch. I can tell you right now, this one is going, this one is going, this one looks like it may not make it. So I've got 4 cuttings in here. Put 4 or 5 in a container and then plant the ones that make it. That's different. That's coming from your yard. It's not costing you anything. But when you're buying seeds, and I buy Brad's Atomic Tomatoes, and I'm getting 30 seeds for $2, that's not a bad price. I don't need 30 Brad's Atomic Tomatoes growing. So last year I think I planted 2. This year so far I've got a couple growing. I don't need that many because I like a different variety of tomatoes growing. But I have a whole package of seeds that I'll probably have for the next 3-4 years. So I love my plastic bag method. This is fantastic. They come in all different sizes. And Karen, you said it, it is perfect. And you know what? Instead of cutting it where I had that piece, cut it where there's nothing left. Just slice the top open. Make sure you've got good drainage. Doesn't take much. Use a can that you had soup or something you bought in, doesn't matter. Put your bag in there. And you know what? You may be able to get a couple uses out of this plastic bag too. So keep the discussion going. I think it was great. I love it. So with that, I hope I've given you some more ideas. I'm crazy about it. I'm actually like this better than the paper cup method, except because of zucchini and moringa plants. They don't like being transplanted. Zucchini's fine, but moringa doesn't like being transplanted. That's when I like using the paper cup method, something where I can actually put the whole pot in the ground. It doesn't even know it got moved. It has a massive root system and it just pops this, you just poke the bottom of the paper cup and then plant it and it will take off. That's perfect for plants that don't like being transplanted. When it comes to zucchini, I do a lot of it that way too. I just drop it in the ground. Paper cup method does the same thing that the plastic does. It stops cutter worms as long as you don't have the soil all the way to the top. And yes, you can use much bigger paper cups. I drop that in the ground and then the zucchini will bust through the paper plant because you're going to make some holes before you put it in the ground. Just make a couple holes or pop the bottom off. With the method like that, the plants retain the water. You're watering directly to the plant because you're watering it directly in here. It goes straight to the roots. The same thing with this, and it works great. So I hope I've given you some ideas. This is like one of my favorite methods. I worked with 3 different pepper plants that were in one pot. I managed to get them apart, and because I put it in a coffee cup, it's got a lot of moisture. My little pepper plant, I got 3 for $1, is doing great. So keep the discussion going. I love it. I'm going to have to keep these hummingbird feeders full. We've had thousands upon thousands coming, as you can see. They're migrating. Have a great day, and don't forget to eat what you grow. Bye-bye. And thank Earthly Kisses and Karen Bauer. You both had great ideas, and so did so many others that had great, wonderful things to say. Bye-bye.